Welcome to another video from my channel Absolute Life Design. In this video I want to talk about the book that really got me into personal development. It's called Grylls, A Survival Guide to Life. Yeah, I wasn't really reading that many books at the time. I wasn't so much into personal development, even though I had a vision of where I wanted to be. I was just getting started in picking up information from other people. So this book isn't going to be a review, it's going to be a lessons learned book, because I think if anyone's there sharing their experiences and lessons they've learned, I think it's worth listening to. I think that, say if there's 100 pages within this book, or any book, that might not be applicable to you, or maybe you might not find value from it. There might be just that one bit of information that makes a huge difference to your life. So now when I see a personal development book that someone recommends, I'll go ahead and buy it, because I know that something within there might change my perspective on something, and it might change things for me. I'm going to go through some of the lessons I learned from this book. As you can see, this book is quite damaged. I had to glue it together and stuff, because at this time when I was quite young, I was a lot younger, and I was travelling a lot. This is before I had a car. I was travelling a lot by train, going around the country, and it's quite worn. It took me quite a while to read it, as it was one of my first books I was reading. So one of the first points that Bear Grylls talks about is having a dream. I think this is very important in terms of creating the life you want. If you've got to have a clear vision of what it is you want, it's like, imagine a plane or a pilot not knowing where he wants to go. You need to have an exact map of where you want to go, because if you deviate from that, then you can check back and say, okay, things aren't going exactly where I need them to go in order to get to where I want to be. You need to be very clear about what it is you want, having a dream, as he says, having a clear goal of exactly what you want, but also having a dream is also going to help motivate you. There's some times where you go through things that are a hard periods of time, and you might forget why you're doing what you're doing. Having a clear vision, having a clear dream, is going to enable you to find that motivation when you need it, and help you to get through that period of time, for whatever it is. So I think that's been important. I think I read this book about 6 years ago, so it's quite a while ago, and in that period of time I've achieved a lot of the things that I wanted to at that time when I was reading the book, and I definitely had a clear vision, a clear dream of what I wanted to attain, and I would say 6 years on I've achieved most of those things. So having a clear dream is something I still have now, so I always want something to pull me towards the future, and yeah, so I always visualise those goals. Okay, second point he makes here, or just another point that was quite poignant to me, is that little extra. So if you're ever going through a difficult time, you'd find normally the end result that you want, whatever it may be, say you're going through a winter of your life, it's on the other end. You've got to wait for that to subside for you to get to where you want to be. So it's like, if you're going through winter, and you might look at it and go, this is where we're going for a winter at the moment, and you're thinking that this isn't that great. You've just got to hold in for that little bit longer, and that little bit extra, as he says here. I think Bear Grylls, what he says is a quote from when he was in the SAS. Someone said that the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is just that little bit extra. And I read this book 6 years ago, and that's been in my mind ever since. So whenever I've done anything where I've worked with other people, or even competed in any sports, or whether it be even in business, in my career, it's normally when people are just about wanting to give up. It's just that little bit extra that makes the difference. I found that message quite powerful. and it's been something I've been trying to implement into my life, just going that little bit extra. It's that point where I think I can't go on anymore, and just finding just that little bit extra, not much more, just that little bit, makes a huge difference. And I think that's been very powerful for me. Another point Bear Grylls says is worries. So it's like he says 90 or 99%. I have to go back to it. Of your worries don't actually happen. And after reading that book, I tried to monitor it when I was younger. And I think when you are younger, you tend to worry about things that aren't necessarily worth worrying. And as you get older, you get more mature, you start to worry less. But I wanted to monitor that and start to look at, okay, I'm worried about this. And then when it came to that, an outcome coming out of it, normally the things that you worry about don't actually come to fruition. You tend to worry more about things that never happen. So I think he said like me, so 90% of things that you worry about don't happen. And I think that is actually true, I think, because our brains are 2 million year old brains, hardwired for a world that no longer exists, and we're thinking about, when's the saber-toothed tiger going to come and get us, and we're not designed, our brains aren't designed for us just to be happy. Our brains are survival machines, designed to keep us safe. So we're always looking at things that could go wrong, and we worry far too much. So start to go to the opposite spectrum of that and start to see how that works out, and just try to worry about, like, not worry at all about anything, just having a really blasé attitude. But I thought, I figured out that I have to have like a middle ground approach to that. So what I can worry about the short-term things, so what could go wrong. So I like even the small things. So I go, what could possibly go wrong? What have I forgotten here? And just trying to make sure I haven't missed anything. But in the long term, I maintain an optimistic perspective. So when things come to me that I didn't expect, I maintain a long-term perspective, a long-term optimistic perspective. So I say, it's going to be okay. Okay, so another point here is there's no education like adversity. That's a really important point, because so many people want things to be easy, and they think things will be better that way. If say something, eventuality happens in your life, and it goes, and you wish like that didn't happen because you feel like that didn't need to happen. But in reality, it's those things that help us grow. You're going to come across something else in your lifetime, and it's just going to seem just as hard. And what I mean by that is, if you go through adversity and something tough happens, you go through a tough period in your life, you then, once you've come over that experience, overcome that experience, like gone from the winter to the summer, as I spoke about, and you've overcome that, you will grow stronger. So you will look back when something else happens and look back at that and say, I've dealt with something a lot harder than this, I can deal with this. So adversity is a big educator, and a lot of the things that have been difficult in the past, I wouldn't have any other way, because it's made me who I am today. And I know that there's going to be more things that come along in the future that it's going to be challenging to deal with, but I like to think I can look back at things I've done and say, I can deal with that. So when I was reading this book, I was quite young, and I was moving out at the time, and I was just started to I was becoming independent, and I was travelling, making money, but I found out it's just a lot of things that the more I knew and the more I could do myself, the better and the more confident I could feel. So I know that it doesn't matter what's going to happen, I can sort things out myself, right? Because I've done this, I know I can do this. And the thing that the chapter in the book that alluded to this was paddle your own canoe. So what Bear Grylls is talking about is being able to, your life is a canoe, and you have to have the ability to paddle it yourself. Yeah, so Bear Grylls talks about paddling your own canoe. So Your life is that canoe, and you've got to be able to paddle it yourself. You don't want to be someone who relies on other people too much. Yeah, we have other people that we rely on, so if my car was to break down, I know I can rely on a mechanic to fix that. Or even like my website, I know I can rely on a web developer. But these kind of things, I need to have some sort of information or have some ability to be able to do it myself. I need to have, so if things go wrong, whatever that may be, then I can say I can do it myself. You know, the ability to paddle your own canoe if need be. So don't be too reliant on other people is a message I got from that. And now I've always looked at different parts of my life and gone, okay, so if this person stops doing that, will I be able to carry on? It's not just about relying on other people, it's also different things like, am I relying on my car too much? Or can I still, if I didn't have my car for a period of time, would I get by? Alright, this is quite an important one that came up about quite a lot. So since reading that book is the chapter "Don't Assume." So many times we assume something is going to be the way it is, or we assume it's going to end up in a certain way. Don't assume. There's so many times where I've thought someone has taken that into consideration and we're trying to achieve whatever it may be, but they've been thinking the same thing. Don't assume and question everything, and just cover yourself. So that goes for every part of your life. The last point here in this book that I'm going to talk a little about is know thyself, or know yourself. So in the book it says know yourself, as Grylls wrote it here, but there's quite an old saying of know thyself, and that's been very important for me in the last 6 years, because sometimes some people may say things, or go do this, go do that, but you've got to really know yourself, because what might work for you and what might be good for you might not necessarily be good for another person, and what might be good for someone else might not be good for you. So people can come up with a lot of recommendations and suggestions, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily good for you. You need to know yourself, know your circumstances, and then take that information that person's giving you and say, is this applicable for me, and can I use it? You know yourself better than anyone, and you also know what it is you want to achieve. So some things to some people might not look like the best thing for you to do, but they don't know your specific circumstances, and they don't know you as an individual specifically. So know thyself is very important, and to be honest, knowing yourself, I think, is a lot easier than people make out. And I think the way to do that is really just have a look at what you were like within certain environments. So being in places where you felt under pressure, places where you felt comfortable, those things will reveal a lot about yourself. And don't just look at yourself on a day-to-day basis, because normally on a day-to-day basis we're in environments that we're quite comfortable with. But have you ever taken yourself quite out of your comfort zone, and what were you like? Think about that, and if there's any things that you feel like you need to work on, and then that's something only you can answer. This video has been a little bit about the lessons I've learned from the book Grylls' Survival Guide to Life, and I wanted to share that with you because my channel that I've just created now is called Absolute Life Design, and what this is about, it's about me sharing some of the lessons I've learned in the journey of becoming and creating a life that I've created so far, and it's about constant progress. Okay, so designing your life is, I had a vision when I was younger of having life the way I wanted it to be. And I don't know what your vision is and your specific vision is, but if you've got the tools and the resources to hand and you've got a strong enough dream, you can attain that. Do consider subscribing to this channel, because really you'll get to see the journey that we're going on, and I think there's going to be a lot of resources that are available that you might find useful. Okay, so thank you for watching. Till then, bye.